Hey viewers, Hayden Gaming here, and today we're looking at a tour of a Viking village which comes complete with its own feasting hall, market, dockyard, botanist's hut, smithing area and much more. I've used a lot of my own previous builds here which I'll be linking throughout the video, so be sure to check those out if you want a build tutorial or are looking for further inspiration. Throughout the village you'll also see how I've incorporated certain in-world elements into my layout, such as the skeleton spawn point repurposed as if it's a sort of Viking burial spot, and the boat-shaped treasure spot being used as the main street and marketplace for the locals. Without further ado, let's get into the detail and you'll be able to see how each of my buildings represent the status and wealth of different professions you'd find in a typical Viking settlement. To kick off, we're in a typical dwelling of a farmhand or labourer. These Vikings often had little to their name aside from the basic provisions such as furs for sleeping on and some basic food and tools to live by, but due to their physical work often made them hearty warriors. Here, at the top side of the village, we have the Botanist's hut, perfect for making healing brews and potions from produce grown in the accompanying outdoor allotment. Inside you'll again find pretty basic equipment and furniture, but with butcher's table, a cauldron and crafting area for concocting all sorts of meads, drinks and dried foods to provide vigour and healing to their Viking kin. Next we have the central street of the village, which has a communal hangout area as well as the local goods market. Here you'll find potions from the local healer, common foods grown by the local farmhands, meats and animal parts gathered by the hunters of the group, a selection of knives, maces, swords, axes and more from the local blacksmith, as well as bows and battle equipment, perfect for the upcoming season of Viking raids. We then move on to the main dwelling of the village where our Jarl would reside. A strong Viking leader not only inspires courage to their fellow Vikings, but lives amongst his townspeople and laboured with them to bring prosperity to their settlement. The difference being, of course, that they would generally have comfier resting places, tastier foods of far more variety, and most of the spoils from recent raids which they could use to barter with other nearby towns and kingdoms. Following on from this is arguably the most important person, aside from the Jarl, in any established settlement, the blacksmith. As well as having a whole host of smithing equipment with which they would use to arm their village and provide tools for advanced boat building and construction, they would also generally live in comfort, with nicer furniture and good food for their family. Across a quaint little bridge, we'll find the local fisherman, who played a pivotal role in both seafaring skills as well as acquiring a steady income of fish to help provide variety to the village's food supplies. In order to preserve the food for the colder months, as well as preparations for feasts, the requirements for herbs and preparation and cooking areas were needed, making their dwelling a bit more substantial than a farmhand's, but not quite on par with a blacksmith. Fishermen would also have access to their own seafaring vessel, which may have been used for both fishing and exploration in trying times, making them a useful addition to the settlement. Another iconic and important element to any flourishing Viking settlement is of course a dock, complete with a longboat. From here, families could bid farewell to their kin who would voyage for raids, and hopefully return in a season or two with plenty of spoils and stories alike of their conquests to share. Not only are offensive elements of a settlement required, but also defensive posts to watch the open waters for other potential raiders. Whether that be other Vikings or competing kingdoms, there are always plenty of dangerous groups who may try to come ashore, circumventing the defensive walls and striking hard from the seas, be it by night or by day. And last but by no means least, we have the utterly iconic Viking Hall, where our village would gather for political discussions, the carrying out of justice within their lands, or to have grand celebratory feasts, perhaps to honour the successive raids or hosting local allied guests. Here, many servants would work to ensure the Jarl's comfort, as well as keeping a steady supply of brews and food for our warriors to strengthen themselves with. Thanks as always for watching this video. I hope you've gained some inspiration for some of the dwellings you may want to add to your own Viking settlements, or at the very least enjoyed hearing about the different roles within my own little Viking village. Be sure to leave a like or dislike if you didn't like the video, and let me know in the comments what other buildings you always make sure to have in your Viking colony. Until next time.